moving to like FitDrummers, this has like an application, definitely for your shows and like and just your tour being more resilient on the tour, feeling like you're coming out of the tour with as much or greater energy than you went into it, as opposed to, breaking down as you're going through the tour. But also like in the practice room or on stage, just being able to be aware, like take a step back. It's almost like an above view of what you're doing at the same time, and then going inside and noticing like what's going on with my breathing right now. Am I breathing well? Am I sitting up straight?
So welcome to another episode of Drum for the Song podcast. I am your host, Dane Campbell. Today's guest is all the way from Canada. It's Rich Knox, who plays in the fantastic rock band Danko Jones. How's it going, Rich?
Oh, it's going very well. Thanks for having me. Really excited to chat.
Yes, it's my absolute pleasure. It was great to meet you a month or so ago at the Cardiff International Arena, when Danko Jones supported The Darkness and Blackstone Cherry. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And, we got to meet up in your gigantic dressing room.
It was a large dressing room, wasn't it?
Compared to the tour.
It was a small conference room.
It was literally a small conference room. And compared to the tour I just did as the opening band, we were lucky to get like a little box room and with 3 chairs in it. So yeah, that was luxurious, man.
Yeah, well, that's how we roll. No, actually, the rest of our tour was the exact same. It was that was an exception. Yeah,
yeah. Well, we like to treat our visitors well in Wales.
All those appreciated.
Yeah, not that I had anything to do with it, but yeah, I know they look after the bands there
on behalf of Wales. Yeah, I get it. Nice.
But how did the tour go anyway?
It was awesome. It was pretty short. I think it was 7 shows, and but it was great. It was like such a fun time. We were the first band of 3 playing, and so sometimes that you can go on stage and not a lot of people are there, but we were pretty fortunate that by the time every night we went on stage, it was already pretty full. The venues were already pretty full, and by the end, jammed. So that was really nice, and everybody, fans were digging it, and the other bands were really nice to us, and it was just good vibes, really good vibes the whole time.
Good vibes is the best way, and I totally know what you mean about that, because there's a lot of similarities here with the tour I just did. We were first of 3 bands, and our stage time was 7:20 every night, which is incredibly early. But I think because of the nature of the bill, I'd say, they were 70% full by the time we started, and then, a little bit more towards the end of the set. Likewise, good vibes with all bands. Nice. For anyone listening, I was just touring with Black Star Riders and Michael Monroe with my band, Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, if you didn't know. But it was a pretty cool kind of...
The videos looked awesome.
Yeah, man. I got lots more to make, really. I'm trying to get some of the audio files off our sound engineer. And I've just uploaded my drum cam videos, but our singer has been recording some of the shows with 3 different GoPros along with mine, and he's going to put some videos together with more angles and stuff. And, nice. And I think he's going to try mixing it himself, but I can't be bothered to do all that. But it'd be cool.
Well, they sounded great. It was.
Thanks, man.
Go check them out, everybody. All the listeners.
Thank you very much. So that was great to see you play. I'm not entirely sure. That might have been the first time I'd ever seen you play with Danko, because I think the last time I saw Danko live was with the previous drummer, or one of the many previous drummers.
Right.
Because it's a bit of a Spinal Tap vibe there, where I think are you the 7th drummer, maybe?
I'm the 7th, yeah.
That's mad.
Lucky number 7. Yeah.
Exactly, lucky number 7. And you've been there 10 years now-ish?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much 10 years. 10 years in August, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
they
so
must like you.
nine and a half.
They must think you're pretty good.
I think they've gone through all the drummers that are possibly available, and that I'm it. I think is what's going on. And we get
Yeah,
along. No, they're
yeah,
great guys. Yeah.
yeah. They are. Yeah, they're cool. Like they know my dad more than me, obviously. But whenever I've got to hang out with the bands, the other guys, they've always treated us really well, and it's been fun.
Yeah.
And they're really cool. But great. Check out Danko Jones. Everybody. The latest album, I think it's a couple of years old now. Power Trio is really, really fantastic.
Thank you.
And so you're obviously playing on that. Which other
Mhm.
albums are you playing on, just for the listeners to check out?
Sure. Uh, Everything, if you go back, I guess, well, I'll just go back in reverse order. So there was Power Trio, before that, A Rock Supreme, before that, Wildcat, before that, Fire Music. And
Cool.
that was the first studio album. And then there are a few live albums that I'm on as well.
Yeah.
But
Isn't there
yeah.
like a live at Wacken or something like that? I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Live at Wacken, and just like a Spotify exclusive thing, live at Grunelund as well. And I think that's it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Ah, awesome. So let's go back a little bit, because I don't know a lot about you yet. Hopefully this will end by the end of this next hour or so. But so how did you get into the drums and becoming a musician? What is your story there?
I grew up in Eastern Canada, in a province called Prince Edward Island. It's the smallest little province in the country. But so that I say that because, there's not a big music scene here. So we would have whatever was served to us on Much Music, which is like the MTV of Canada kind of thing. And so I guess just like by watching Much Music, I just caught the bug. My uncle is a drummer, but we didn't really. I said, so I guess it was like in my mind, but I didn't see him play like live a lot. Of just never did. But I guess like through like school bands, like I just like joined like the school band and like played trumpet, and then got onto the drum set. So it was kind of through that I like first got to play on a drum set. And like as soon as you get picked as a drummer, like it's kind of like, do not touch the drums, because every kid would want to touch the drums. But if you get to pick to be a drummer, you get to touch the drums. So I just went like crazy, played every lunch hour and after school, and took them home on the weekends and whatever. And there was a kid in my neighborhood that was really into the British band Bush, was into the band Bush. We called them Bush X in Canada, because there was another Bush.
Oh,
So
right, okay.
they were called Bush X in Canada. But anyway, I remember that because he like looked like he had like the look of Gavin Rosdale down. Yeah. Anyway, so he asked me to be in a band, and that band led to another band, and then that was kind of it. The hook was in, and I ended up playing locally, I guess, like with some cover bands, like the bunch like guys that were much older than me. Those were kind of my first like professional bands. And then some kids that I knew from high school were really getting into jazz music, and so I followed them, and I actually went to a university and studied jazz drums as well. And then so I played, there's a bunch of years where I was playing like on the street, but it was this really cool festival that they had all these like jazz artists from all over the country, and some from the States too, would come and kind of do like these residences. And so I, just by luck, I was like there. So I've got to play with some pretty amazing jazz musicians over the years. And then I was playing in the cover band at night with these older guys that were, really, really good in their own way. And then, started some original bands with friends as well. But yeah, the early days, I guess, like when I was first starting, my go-to bands were Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, were kind of like the two biggest influences on me early on. So yeah,
I'd say similar to me. I started playing in a cover band with guys who were older than me, and I think out of our set, we played about 8 different Nirvana songs. So and it was kind of a weird combination of Nirvana and then like Metallica, Megadeth, and then what else did we do? Primus, we ended up playing. So like,
Nice.
I think we might have done a Rage song, Incubus.
Oh
But
yeah.
that was kind of like the kind of stuff that got me into playing as well. But prior to that, I was jamming with my brothers and stuff. It's all like the kind of usual classic rock stuff as well. But yeah, I'm sure we were into similar stuff by the sounds of it. But,
Yeah.
that's cool, man. So you play jazz as well, which is that puts you into the real musician category of drummer. I'd say.
I guess so. Yeah, jazz is tough. I will say that. It was really tough. But so that's why I play rock now, because it was too tough. I gave up. And I came back.
Rock's pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was fun. It was like I did learn a lot. It kind of like really improved me as a musician.
Yeah,
like you say, like my ears were way better. Just even knowing like the harmonies and of what's going on, that just made any kind of like session work I did, or like working with singer songwriters and whatever, you're just able to pick up everything like so much quicker, because you just have this encyclopedia of like knowing like, oh, this is where that's going, whatever. But so that's kind of like where I went next, I guess, is from the school I moved. That was in Montreal, Canada. And then I moved to Toronto, Canada, which is where I eventually met Danko and JC. But before that, I was playing, I came out of jazz school, and the first thing I did, I guess I could play with a couple jazz groups there. And then a bunch of singer songwriters, just started meeting people, and like folk rock and alt country were like really popular as soon as I moved there, at least within my friend group. And so I ended up like playing in a bunch of bands like that, and then led to this like rock trio called Flash Lightning, which was kind of like a ZZ Top meets Queens of the Stone Age kind of vibe, which was fun. And I think that was the band. There was like my first gig with them was their album launch, and there was like they had this like had some hype and stuff, and then their drummer quit on them like right before. So like so that's I was super nervous. I was like, I don't know, so the kind of biggest gig I felt I ever had to that point, and it all went well. And someone took a video of it, and I think that's the video that when the guys in Danko were looking for a new drummer, they saw this video, which was lucky because I didn't play in a lot of like, there wasn't a lot of evidence of me playing in like harder rock bands. So this just happened to get videotaped, and that was like when someone threw my name out, that was what clinched the deal. And
wow.
then I got the audition with Danko and JC, and crushed it. And no.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you crushed it. So then I guess like people get surprised these days. They see band members playing on the big stages and festivals. Like, is that a full-time thing for you now? Is Danko Jones your full-time job?
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Because I think I spoke to lots of drummers where I'm expecting them to say yes, and they do other things as well. I know you do a few other new projects unrelated to actually performing, which we'll talk about in a little while. So that's amazing that you can do that. So did you have to drop all the cover bands and stuff when you joined Danko?
Yeah. There was like a little while where I was making a living at playing music, but it wasn't like, it was a bit of a slog for sure. I was definitely wasn't making a ton of money. Let's just say that. And that was actually kind of tough to like let go of all the other bands that I was playing in at the time. Like I tried to make it work, and there were a couple like other bands that I was just through sheer luck, the schedules worked out for even a couple of years, but eventually, everything is pretty much gone now, which is like totally fine, but also, a bit sad because you definitely there's a bond that's created with a group of, any band that you're in, that you feel like you're kind of leaving a family behind or something like that. But it's okay.
Absolutely. I totally understand, but then you've got to live the dream, and
well, that's it.
Yeah. And like obviously Danko, they come over to Europe quite a lot. I guess I imagine that's probably their main kind of area, is it? The main kind of
we barely play Canada, our home country. and barely play the US as well. But yeah, we come over to the UK. We'd love to come more, and I think we will start coming more, but it wasn't our biggest markets. Our biggest places we go play are like Germany and Scandinavia and yeah, kind of that zone, France, and we're
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to Spain soon, which is just nice. But yeah, it's mostly those Europe that we get to go, which is amazing for me. My first time ever to Europe was with Danko, and so yeah, I don't know, it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
music's fun, the guys are great, and I get to go all these places. It's pretty good. Feel pretty lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So what would you say were your career highlights so far?
Ooh. Uh, yeah, like you mentioned the Vakken shows. We played there a couple times. That was, I mean, those are huge. Like, yeah, some of those really big festivals that we get to do. Grass Pop as well is a really big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime there's like that's pretty mind blowing. Like the first time walking out on a stage with that many people out there is pretty awesome. So that'd be a career highlight. Um, oh, that's a good question. I'm sure there's like lots of cool stuff that I'm blanking on now, but um,
Is there any?
Here's something
Oh,
cool that happened. I don't know,
yeah.
like uh, this is a little inside baseball, but at during the last tour, uh, the we were playing. I forget it was the second last show, one of the last shows, and the Darkness drummer Rufus was late for sound check, so I sound checked for them.
Ah,
So
cool.
that was just like I don't know if it's a career highlight, but it was a pretty. It comes to mind. It was like that was pretty cool. You know, like so I learned up a couple of their songs. Like I had like 45 minutes to, you know, whatever, and I didn't really know a ton of like. I appreciated them, but you know, there's a difference between like listening to the song and knowing how it goes
Yeah,
well
exactly.
enough to play it. So I learned it up as quick as I could, and I think I did an okay job. I think they were surprised to have like anything besides just like the classic boom chick boom throughout the whole thing. So that was like pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened. Yeah, I mean, just like joining Danko is a career highlight for sure. Just our first tour I did with them was through the States, and it was this like kind of touring festival, and we were like on this like kind of one of the minor stages of this festival, like playing like they were proper stages, but they were like in the parking lots, and it was a touring like amphitheaters. And anyway, sharing our stage was this band Walking Papers that has Duff McKagan playing it. So like, yeah, going from whatever I was doing before to like the first gig out is I'm like, you know, when we keep alternating. So some nights we play last, some nights they play last, and just like what has happened? What a turn my life has taken. Now I, you know, walk rubbing shoulders with Duff McKagan every night, and he was a sweet guy too. So that I don't know, that
That's
was
pretty
early
cool.
on in the time with Danko, but that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. He's so despite he's like one of the biggest rock stars ever, he's pretty down to earth, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was very, very kind. Like I guess he knew Danko had toured with Guns N' Roses before I joined, so they knew each other from then. But uh, yeah, he was nice to me as well, just as nice.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's a
amazing.
sweet guy. Yeah,
Awesome. So
yeah.
and talking about that tour, so did you get to know the other drummers on that tour? Did you get to know Rufus?
Not much, not much. Yeah, our everyone was always very kind when we'd see one another, but we just didn't really didn't cross paths all that much.
Yeah.
The I did see John Fred, the drummer from Blackstone Cherry. Anytime I'd see him in catering and stuff, he's quite like super nice guy. Like he'd come over and like just like start chatting you up, and had a couple conversations with Rufus as well. But yeah, I guess John Fred was like, is gregarious the term, where like very I don't know, very
Yeah,
chatty,
cool. That's good to know.
which is really fun. Yeah.
They're both guys I'd love to get on the show at some point. Um, but you know, it's difficult to get contacts with some of these people.
Hmm.
But yeah, like Blackstone Cherry, it's the first time I'd ever seen them. I couldn't believe how many drumsticks he went through.
Oh
I
man.
don't know if it was just that show or it was every show, but he was just like I don't know if he was breaking them or he was just like, I don't like the feel of this one. He was just throwing it away and grabbing another one.
Yeah, it's
But
something.
it
It's
was
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I know from like the first note. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Like first note, it's like a next level of intensity. And you're right, the drumsticks are flying.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, he must be hitting really super. I mean, it looks like he's hitting so super hard.
Oh, he absolutely
Yeah.
is. Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of anyone that I'd least like to be their drum tech. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I
Like
worded
that's
that correctly. Wouldn't want to be his tech.
no, yeah, you're like a tennis ball boy on
Yeah.
steroids. Yeah,
But it was fun. It was a great show anyway. But
yeah.
anyway, enough about that. So one thing I found very interesting about you after I kind of did a little bit of research was performers health and fit
Hmm.
drummers, which is I believe a new escapade. Is that the right word for yourself?
Yeah.
Um, I've got a little bit of history with keeping fit and working out and mindfulness. I do a little bit of that from time to time. I don't do as much as I should. Um, but I found this really interesting because no one else does this, especially
Hmm.
specializing in musicians and drummers. So would you like to tell me about that really? And so
Yeah,
the
sure.
listeners can check it out.
For sure. And I'd love to know what you do after, but yeah, so this I guess I got started with this same as you. It was something that I was just naturally interested in, and I think over the years of touring as well, I there's some downtime, so you get to go, for walks or which maybe turn into going for runs, and so that was happening, I guess. But I just and my natural inclination to also just like want to stay fit, like always kind of just been going to the gym, always kind of been interested in improvement, I guess. So that's like what led me to like meditation and and then also like starting to deal with as I started playing more and more and like with Danko and stuff and the sets are a bit I guess is not much longer than the other stuff I was doing, but more I'm hitting harder, it's more physical. And so started taking that more seriously as well. I guess like we were saying, like I got really, when this got this opportunity to play with them, I was like, I want to not only like practice the drums more, but I want to be in great shape. So that's kind of what brought it on. And then just talking with other musicians, realizing that like, yeah, like what you just told me is like so common. It's like people are like either dabble or like everybody's like, oh, I should like, I know I gotta take care of myself or whatever. And I definitely had a long time where like, when you're a young buck, you can get away with a lot more than you can like I can now, at least for like, ripping it up. Um, so I guess like starting to notice that that I needed to take better care of myself and everything I just mentioned, thought, well, I'm gonna do something about this and I'll start this business, start this, journey and try to bring this stuff to other people. So I took what was just an interest to start getting like certified different, like just getting educated in these things, certified as a personal trainer, mindfulness meditation coach, nutrition coach, breathwork coach. Like I'd taken all these kind of certifications so I could go from like just like the giving my pals the tips that I found on the internet to like something a bit more legit. So since starting it, I've been running some workshops where I live in Prince Edward Island, just with musicians, kind of like I call it like a mindful movement class. So it's not really a yoga class, but it shares some of the same things. Only in that you're just being aware of what you're doing, how you're standing, how you're breathing, how you're thinking, and then starting to move with that awareness in mind. So it has moving to like FitDrummers. This has like an application, uh, definitely for your shows and like and just your tour being more resilient on the tour, feeling like you're coming out of the tour with as much or greater energy than you went into it, as opposed to breaking down as you're going through the tour. But also like in the practice room or on stage, just being able to be aware, like take a step back. It's almost like an above view of what you're doing at the same time, and then going inside and noticing like what's going on with my breathing right now. Am I breathing well? Am I sitting up straight? How, like, and then like a great thing is for the practice room actually is like next time you can try this, or anybody, if you've never done anything like this, you can try it. Like even just like put a metronome on and I don't know, I'm just going to throw in a number, put a metronome on at 90 BPM or something. It's not crazy. And start to play just along quarter notes with the 90. And it's not fast, and just one, it's not fast at all. But what you're doing is try to, like, if anyone's ever heard of like I'm getting into the weeds a bit here, but like the free stroke, or like just hit once and let the stick do all the work. It's like come from up position, like the stick's pointed vertical, and just hit it down once along with the metronome. Now this could be, there's many things you could be working on all the time. One thing that, like, as drummers we generally work on is like, okay, like I'm going to do my rudiments, or I'm going to like try to play with good time. And that's like obviously important. But like I invite you to try this, that where you not only just, yes, you're trying to get it right on the click, or you can put it on the offbeat and end up playing on the eighth note. That even gives you a little more to think about. And yes, you want to be playing in time, but just focus on, it only takes like a moment of effort to put that stick down. Just like as fast as I snap, that's the effort it takes. Can I relax the rest of the time? And notice that's just like one way to become more aware, and how this can become a part of what you're doing. And that can go out into everything. Being more relaxed on stage, it doesn't mean you're not hitting as hard. You probably are going to be able to hit even harder if you're relaxed in those moments when effort is not needed. Because I'm still guilty of this. Try to be less so of holding a bunch of tension just the whole time. Just like the whole, like you're amped up. You want to do a good job. You're like, you try, the nerves are there, which are not bad in themselves, but they're part of the equation. And so that can lead to, just one, not playing as good as you could play, as well as you could play, and also like injuring yourself potentially. And yeah, I mean, not breathing well, feeling more nervous than you need to just by holding all this extra tension. That's just like one tiny application of like how being more mindful can help you as a drummer. So that's just one part of like what I'm trying to get, the message I'm trying to get out to people. Others, like there's just lots of your classic, like going to whether you go to a gym or you just want to get out for a walk, or get out in the sun, or get out into nature, or eat more healthfully, drink more water, maybe dare I say, drink less alcohol, or like all these things that you can do, just that add up to feeling so much better and being able to play on the road for so much longer and be so much healthier, and really just enjoy it for the gift that it is, like being able to go play music in all these different towns for all these people that want to hear you. And just, not that there's not a time to like whoop it up and celebrate and have some drinks or whatever, but like just not making that your normal, like, this is okay, now I'm going to go, party for 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that that's bad, but I just think that like you do you, but I just think that like for me, I found that it's when I just focus on staying healthy and focus on just having a great show and having a great feeling about the show, it kind of brings a whole other level of enjoyment to a tour, and to what I'm doing. Like, why am I doing this? I want to do it so I can, feel good about it, and feel good about the connection I'm making with the music and the fans and the people on stage with me and what have you. So yeah, I have those sessions on, like, locally I've been doing, and I've now moved to working with some people online. So like I have like a coaching thing online where we like meet once a week and talk about different strategies that, like, obviously I'm not there with you, but we can talk about things hold you accountable to those things.
Hmm.
And there will be like an online course coming very soon, and an app that you can download coming very soon as well, called FitDrummers. So it's very relevant to the drummers that might be listening to this podcast. But that's kind of what that is about. Man,
it's really cool. It's really exciting, and I think the industry certainly needs something like that. Even when it just comes down to, help with warming up, warming down, preventing injuries, like that aspect of it. I know that's only a small aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something very common I hear about all the time. All these drum communities I'm in online and Facebook and stuff. There's always people complaining about stuff like that. So I think that's really important. I've had shoulder injuries myself from playing. Prior to that made me aware of it, and it makes me conscious of everything I do now. And I've changed my setup and all these things like that. But again, like you mentioned earlier, when you're younger, you can kind of get away with it. And I've been, playing and touring in like hard hitting rock bands since I was a teenager, and that happened in my, I guess, early 20s, mid 20s ish. And I was like, whoa, that's really scary. And we had to cancel the tour because the warm up show for the tour, I kind of just twanged my shoulder, kind of going, like kind of reaching for my China cymbal, which was maybe a little bit too far away, perhaps. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, I don't think I can play tomorrow, essentially. But if you want to help people making, mistakes, not mistakes, but preventing things like that from happening to them. There's another guy I know listens to the show. He does a lot of recording from home. He does a lot of teaching. He's constantly playing drums, and he's saying he's having joint pains all the time, and it's preventing him from doing that. And what he loves to do. And I'm like, hopefully this episode will kind of help him, or at least inspire him to maybe look into some options, or maybe even check out your course. Is it more of a so there's a course coming out?
There's a course coming out. Yeah. So the on the app, when it comes out, it's going to come with this program that I guess this is what we'll call it. I wasn't 100% sure, but now I'm announcing it publicly. It'll be called like Do Anywhere Warm-Ups. And that's just like, there'll be content that you can buy that's, taken, years and years to develop. But this will be just that kind of incentive to get the app. Yeah. So as soon as you get that, you have these warm-ups. But basically, they're not even all that complicated. But there is some stuff in there that's great for joints and warming up the joints. There's a study in Canada. There's this thing called, I guess it's called Drummer Lab in one of the universities of Canada. I'm going to say Windsor, but where they have this lab and they study drummers and like the biomechanics of drumming. And there was Dr. Nadia Azar is her name that's running this lab. And I've just spoken with her like on Instagram, but I don't really know her. But the stat is something like over 60% of drummers had reported playing related injuries.
Wow.
And 50% or something had reported like more than one or something. So it's common. It's common, unfortunately. So I guess, just to add to maybe how to prevent it is, yes, we're getting older. We're playing this like instrument that's like, it's physical. There's like, we can relax more. That's something already discussed that would like possibly change things. But there's a lot of things that are related to drumming that can be found in like the fitness world already, or the general rehab world already, obviously. Yeah. Posture, just having proper posture would be one, because when like the drums are all out in front of us, if you're just listening, you're not going to see me, but I'm reaching out in front of me, and everything is pretty much, except for your China cymbal back there, but like most of everything's like out in front. And, that's not a natural thing really to be like spending hours, if you're practicing hours a day or like in a studio for hours a day, like to be doing this thing where you're just using all these muscles in a certain way in front of you. And also like now I'm hunching, but like if you are hunching, that puts your shoulder, for example, in a compromised position, so that like by working to strengthen these things, it's not just like I don't know, it's not just because doing it. It's like there's reasons to consider, like, yeah, I want to strengthen my back. I want to improve my mobility, which is different than flexibility. Mobility is actually like having strength in the range that you're going to, as opposed to just being able to stretch that far, but like actually having strength in that range is important. And but I guess just any kind of like way you can get your heart rate going and move your joints, like, or your, let's say your arms, in a way that you would move them before you play. So you could just do like big arm circles. Like, I get more into the weeds in the app thing, but just so it's, because it's kind of hard to if you're just listening, to show this, but like do big arm circles, do wrist circles, like these little things. If you go and you do them to like I'm saying like the end range, what I mean by that is like trying to make the biggest circle that you can make. Think about, like, if, for example, with your China, I don't know what happened that day, but like that might have been the first time that you reached in that particular way back to your right that day, or possibly like
Yeah,
for a month or something, like,
yeah,
it's a non-natural position. So that's why voluntarily going into these positions gently at least like prepares the body to like be like, okay, I might want to access that later. And then treating ourselves a bit like we're not athletes, we're musicians, but we're doing something that's athletic. And so treating it like that, and yeah, having a warm up. It's great you mentioned that, because that's super important. You can do jumping jacks. You can just jump up and down. You can go for, like, I'm saying these things because often we do have these little, like, we don't always get the conference room as our dressing room. Sometimes it is like this small little place. And like, I think I always feel bad as a drummer anyway. Like I'm always like, got to be the most annoying person to warm up backstage. Like,
yeah.
it's just like nothing is like, there's no way to like not be kind of annoying with it. But like, yeah, jumping up and down, like spending at least as much time getting your body moving as like practicing like some like rudiments, like kind of randomly, or just like, because that's what you think you should do. Like, and if I do actually think that you should, if you can, play on a practice pad before, but I think you could be smart about that too, and maybe do something like we talked about earlier, which is like be a bit more mindful about it. Again, you're training that motion, but you're also getting your mind ready to go out and play. Yeah, I would say those would be a couple places to start. Is just and the listener you're referencing definitely don't know anything about you, sir, but if you can go see someone like that's a professional in this. But I'll also, you can definitely check out my stuff as well, but I'd be be wrong for me to not tell you to go see someone professional who can actually take a look at what is actually going on with you.
Apologies for interrupting this episode of Drum for the Song. I really hope you're enjoying it so far. I just wanted to take a few moments to tell you about my Patreon page. This is a place where you can support the podcast in exchange for some bonus content. You can head over to patreon.com/Drum for the Song. There are 3 tiers available at the moment. One is £3 a month, one is £5 a month, and the other one is £10 a month. Each tier grants you access to exclusive benefits, which include bonus episodes, early access to the main episodes, private Facebook group membership, merch discounts, discount on Motorhead beer as well as a monthly competition to win Motorhead beer, access to Skype chats with me, asking my guests questions, occasional free gifts like drumsticks, free tickets to Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons shows, and your name in the episode description. If you regularly enjoy the podcast and think you would enjoy those benefits too, please consider signing up. If you didn't already know, I do everything for this podcast all by myself. So I do all the contacting, all the research, all the interviews, all the audio editing, all the video editing, all the artwork, all the uploading. I write all the descriptions, I build the website, everything is just me. So essentially the money from the subscriptions helps me keep a bit of time free during my weeks so I can continue making the podcast for you guys. So again, that's patreon.com/drum for the song. Check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah, moving on. No. Well, yeah, check it out. I know you're on Instagram. So it's your personal page is at Rich Knox Drums or at Performers Health or at FitDrummers. There's a few pages to check out.
Yeah.
But you're specializing in something different on each one. So it's worth, following all the accounts. And I'm definitely going to be taking a closer look at that. And especially if there's an app coming out. I think when people have an app, even if it's the free part of an app, because sometimes you get a free app and then you can pay for extra content. I think just because it's there, it does kind of give you the incentive to kind of keep doing it. Rather than, obviously there's loads of stuff available online and YouTube for drummers, but the fact that you have something on your phone that you can follow and, tick off different exercises, I think that will certainly help people. So yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, I'm glad we talked about that. And thanks for doing it, because I think it's really important, and we all need it. And I'm certainly going to try and get involved in it. And yeah, we can chat about some of the other stuff I do later. I don't want to bore the listeners, but yeah, yeah, cool. Let's talk about your gear. With Danko Jones, you play a fairly small setup, let's say, compared to most other rock drummers. So what endorsements do you have? What gear are you using? Specifically models and stuff. It won't take that long because you don't have much.
I'll say it really slowly. I have a Yamaha drum set, the hybrid. I play the hybrid maple absolute, or the hybrid absolute maple, hybrid maple absolute. And it's white, and it's like piano key white. And I have a 24-inch bass drum. I think it's 24 by 18, if not mistaken. And
pretty big.
Yeah, is it by 18 or maybe it's by 16? And 24 anyway, and 18 by 16 floor tom, and then I have a like a brass Yamaha snare as well, 14 by 6.5. I play Peisty cymbals. I have play Giant Beats. I have 24-inch ride cymbal, just kind of like a second crash. It's like a ride crash, and then a 20-inch crash, and 14-inch hats, and it's not like an endorsement, but I play this cowbell. It's the best cowbell in the world. I forget the brand, but it's called the best cowbell in the world.
Is it?
That's what they call it, or at least that's their tagline. And so I agree. It's the Ridge Rider, I think, or something.
Okay.
So and I play Los Cabos drumsticks, and they're actually a company just from down the road in New Brunswick in Canada.
Yeah,
so shout out to Los Cabos.
Because I've always heard the name. I just assumed they were some South American or Spanish company because of the name, but they're Canadian.
Yeah.
What's the story?
Yeah, I thought the same thing before.
Yeah. So you've been using them. I've heard lots of good things. And the other thing about them is that you have a new podcast, which is called Los Cabos Presents Quarter Notes.
Yes.
So that's a new venture for you.
Yeah, that's it's fun in the podcast world, eh?
Yeah.
This my co-host on that, Dre Pino, asked. He had this podcast that was interviewing like maritime. That's like we just say like for the three. There's like Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, called the maritime provinces in Canada. So he was like interviewing maritime drummers essentially, and which is kind of a cool thing to like. It's a small little scene, but it's cool to hear about your small little scene, because you don't really know a lot of. It's small scene, but we're spread out over a few provinces. Anyway, so I met him on that, and then he approached me one day with the idea to do a podcast for Los Cabos, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we've done a few episodes now. We have another really cool one coming out. We're starting to get guests now.
Ooh.
So that's a lot cooler than, I mean, we were chatting and it was fun, but now we will have some guests coming out. So if anyone like goes and looks up Los Cabos Drumsticks Presents Quarter Notes, that's a mouthful. And you're just like, oh, it's just these two guys. There will be some guests coming on in the near future. Yeah. So that's been really fun. Yeah. It's fun to talk to new people, as I'm sure like been part of the fun thing for you. It's just like getting to get this opportunity to pick someone's brain, and
definitely. I got to meet some great people, and I even just from speaking to them for 2 hours on a podcast, from not knowing each other before, if you see each other in person, then you're like mates. You're all of a sudden friends. It's great. It's a really cool feeling. Like I got to meet a lot of them in person since, which was nice.
If I can bring it a bit full circle, I was looking back through, and you've had some amazing guests, man. Like,
I'm very lucky. Really
I was
lucky.
like, what am I doing here? But anyway, Brian Tishy was, to bring it back to that first tour I did with Danko. He was on another playing with a band called the Dead Daisies. He came in, and that was a thing. Speaking of like multiple drummers, they had like different drummers over the course of that tour.
Did they?
Yeah.
They have lots of different. They've had different singers, different bass players. They're one of those bands that the members seem to change. A lot. But he's back in them now. Brian's back in them.
Oh, cool! It was. I mean, everybody was great. All the drummers were really, really good. But then, like when he came, it was just like another level. And speaking of all the fitness stuff, like he's a incredibly fit guy, and I know he like likes boxing. And I remember watching some video about that a long time ago. Never really got to meet him well, but or talk to him. And I was so super green, like I wasn't going to go talk to anybody anyway. I was just frightened of everyone. But he was incredible, man. Like it was, he's so good. He's so good.
I've not met him in person, but he was fun, and he likes to talk. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool. Maybe I could have chatted with him.
But he's really into his drumming, and if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, at the moment he's like doing all these snare drum comparison videos, and he must have like one of the biggest snare drum collections ever. And he's like doing the nines. Like yesterday, it was like 9 different snare drums. Just little demos of each one, and you have to say which one was your favorite. So he's a fun guy to follow online.
Oh, cool.
But I hopefully I'll get to meet him one day. But thanks, man. And if you have time, check out some of the older episodes.
I will.
I'm on episode 2 of your podcast. I got like 3/4 of the way through it yesterday.
Oh,
and I didn't. I was hoping to finish it before this, but I get a vibe. And I actually listened to the other podcast that you mentioned with your co-host that you were on in like 2 years ago. So that I found that first, and then and then I was quite interested to know that he was also your co-host. So it was the same same voices. But it must be nice having a co-host, because I do all this by myself, and sometimes I'm like, would it be easier sometimes to have that other person? But then I guess you've got to share the work and share. Like someone's got to do the editing. You can't really share editing and all this stuff.
He does all he does all that.
That's good.
I will say it's very nice to have a co-host.
Yeah,
but if he's listening to this, I'm not. I'll do it. But so far he's done it all. So
he's already got it down by the sound of it. He's got the experience.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's nice. Yeah, good on you, man. It is a lot of work. Like I know what I have a sense of what he's doing, so it's good on you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it doesn't, there's very, apart from the enjoyment and meeting people, and there's very little I get back. But I do have a Patreon page, which has kind of helped me keep it going, really. And I actually got 2 questions from 2 of my Patreon members for
Oh,
you,
wicked.
because that's
Okay.
one of the kind of the perks that they have for signing up and supporting the show. So the first one, if you're ready for it, I might as well
I'm
do
ready.
them now. It's from David Rudd. So thanks, David, for this. I loved Rich's playing when I saw him in Birmingham recently and was surprised how small his kit was. Can you please ask Rich what has influenced his current setup and whether he has ever used more drums or cymbals with Danko Jones or other bands?
Okay. Thank you, David. The setup is influenced by JC and Danko's wishes. So that's
Really? Okay.
yeah, no, it was like that was the aesthetic of the band in the beginning. It was like that's what they were going for. So coming from, yes, we play like ever since I've been in the band, it's always kind of been the style that we play now, which is kind of like what it is, our hard rock thing, whatever. But when in the beginning, it was coming from the garage rock scene, and so bands like the White Stripes and that that was a scene that those guys were coming from, and so like John Spencer Blues Explosion, those kind of like really like fun, and the it wasn't like all just about laying it down. It was like kind of like as much about this like wild character, like wild guy that is Danko Jones, and like the songs were different back then. Anyway, so that was the aesthetic of the band all along. Was like, and it's just like it's different, it's cool. Have this like just the one tom, the cowbell, a couple cymbals. So I have played more drums with other bands, but I've never done more with Danko.
Wow.
I will say, if a little behind the scenes in the studio, sometimes I'll put up like another cymbal or something, but that's just for like, like the way that like a guitar player might overdub it, like, or like double his guitars or something, or her guitars in a part to make it come, expand or something. So, but live, never more than that setup.
That's cool. And I guess the massive bonus about that is like storage. And so when you're touring, you don't need, well, the drum kit normally takes up half half of the van or whatever. So there's less stuff. That is cool.
It is. Yeah. If you, like you were saying, if John Fred's tech's the worst tech job in drumming, mine might be one of the easier.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, there's not much to set up. No, it is. It's actually, it's pretty slick, and it doesn't take a lot of room.
No.
And it's pretty fast to get done. Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah. I just saw it as an exercise because I don't think I've ever played without a rack tom. Like I only use one, and people say, "Why do you only use one?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not really used to playing with any more than one. So you don't even have one." But like you must like playing fills you must take some adjustment. Because if something isn't there and it's only there, you've only got 2 things to go back and forth. Obviously the kick, I guess. Do you use the kick a lot in your fills?
I guess I guess I don't know. I never thought about it. I don't really. I'm not like it's. I guess you just do get used to it. It's like you just don't have. But I was the same as you. Like when I first joined, I always had one rack tom. Like, and I mastered all my go-to fills. With that, and then so like there's some like the. You just kind of got to make them work with the floor tom. Like but there's some like 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 you just have to like it just flows so easily. But you gotta like now you gotta switch it. So you just like gotta get that left hand over there really quickly, kind of thing. Or in a way, it kind of made me like come up with some like in the early days, especially like the first record, come up with some fills that I wouldn't have done otherwise, just because you only have these 2 things and I guess the kick too, but like or end up using the hi-hat sometimes is actually what I end up using in the fill sometimes, or like an open or kind of like even using the open or close kind of thing with the hi-hat. But it took a bit of getting used to, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I guess
I like it.
And Yeah, I think it's cool, and it gives you your style, your vibe, which is, I'd say was definitely more unusual than most, especially in a rock, stage. Like I use 1 up, 2 down, and sometimes I'm like, oh, is that too much? But then I'm always playing with bands that have 3 up, 2 down,
Yeah.
like 12 cymbals. So I'm like, my kit is tiny compared to those guys. So
Yeah.
but I guess for anyone listening who does play a larger kit, it might be a good exercise to try and take a few things away, just to kind of expand your musicality and drumming to some degree, just to get used to playing with a minimal setup. And then I think that's definitely a good exercise, because sometime someday you might get asked to do a gig where the kit's already there, or you're not able to take your own, and the kit is a lot smaller than what you're used to playing. So I think that is a good exercise for any drummer to do, just even if it's for a little bit of fun. Just take some toms away, take some cymbals away, and see what you come up with.
Well, like drumming for the song, to bring about that, like that's one thing. It really, like, the fewer bells and whistles that you have, like the more you just got to make it count with what you have.
Yeah.
I found, but I guess the argument could be made too, like, no, the song calls for 5 toms,
Yeah.
like 10
Sometimes it does.
tops, and it does. So like that's I don't disagree.
Yeah,
Anyway.
because you can't, like, for example, you couldn't do that with 1 floor tom.
You definitely can't.
You could
just wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work. So yeah, it's there's no right or wrong in drumming. I always say that.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about the instrument. But next question from Steve Hancock. Thanks for this. As someone who's always looking for new music but not familiar with the band, he's on about Danko Jones, what songs would you recommend to me to get me into the band, and what are your favorites?
Thanks for the question, Steve. My favorites are some of my favorites are ones that we don't play live, and I think that's partly because you just never get to play them, so you don't, like, but I guess if you were going to listen to us, the My Little R&R is one a lot of people's favorites, so that would probably be a good place. Had Enough, I don't play on that, but it's one of people's favorites. Same with Full of Regret, don't play on that, but one of people's favorites. Watch You Slide, fun one. Lover Call, I think I'm kind of giving you a variety to kind of, because you kind of encapsulate the vibe of the band. Blue Jean Denim Jumpsuit is like one from the last record that I like, and obviously I play on it, and we don't ever really play it live, but I really like that one. But yeah, I actually, what I recommend, Steve, is you just put the whole record on and give it a chance.
Yeah,
because I think sometimes they're later in the different tracks are going to catch you.
I always think, find the latest record, play it in full. If you like it, check out the one before and go from there. That's
yeah.
If I discover a band, that's kind of how I kind of work.
I think our last. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I think that's a good way. And unless someone says, I guess more classic rock bands, you kind of you'll find like what their most classic album is. Maybe start from there and then go branch out. But yeah, start with the latest one.
Yeah, definitely. I will say, I guess, like I mentioned, in this, I started with Fire music. So anything Fire music and before, I think they're all pretty solid, and they all kind of have the same. You might hear, which might be fun or interesting to do, Steve, is there, like we alluded to before, there's been more than one drummer in this band. I'm on a bunch of the most recent records, and I think it has a vibe, and I think it's very solid. You could also check out, just be aware that the sound is different as before, and so that might be a fun musical journey to go down.
Absolutely. Even
Yeah.
if the previous drummers had a similar setup, it's still a different person playing it.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
And you might tune differently. Different
Oh yeah.
fills, different grooves. It's totally different.
Totally. It does sound quite a bit different.
But cool. Yeah, Steve. I kind of know what Steve's into. I think he'd like it. I don't see why he wouldn't like it. So he's definitely
Nice.
dig it. Great, man. Right now we've got a quick fire round. If you don't mind, we've got enough time to squeeze that in, I think. So we can just find out a little bit more about you. Some drum related, some not drum related. You don't really have to explain the answers, but you can if you want.
Okay.
But the idea is quick fire. So what's your favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite movie?
The Departed.
Oh, cool. Guitar or bass?
Ooh. Bass.
Nylon or wood tip?
Wood tip.
What size sticks do you use out of interest?
5B.
5B. Cool.
What do you use?
Well, at the moment I'm on a 5B XL, which is just a little bit longer.
Okay. Right on.
5B XL Precision. So they're a little bit thinner towards the shoulder is a little bit thinner than the regular 5B. But I don't know. They're pretty cool. John Bonham or Neil Peart? Peart, some people say.
Yeah. For me, it's John Bonham.
I thought it would be. But both equally amazing.
Yeah.
Beatles or Rolling Stones?
I hate that question, but I gotta go. I like the Rolling Stones. I listen to the Rolling Stones more. But I would say that the Beatles, Beatles are the Beatles. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
They're probably, maybe it's the Beatles. I don't know.
It's a difficult one. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Big or small venue?
Another toughie. I'm going to go big.
Cool. Favorite time signature?
4/4.
Yeah. Are there any Danko songs not in 4/4?
No. I guess like the most we could do is like a 12/8 or something. Yeah. But that's like basically 4/4.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Also, backtrack. No, this is rapid fire. Nope.
Go on. Backtrack.
I just know the small venues are, I want to say small venue, but I just want to, put it out there, to all the booking agents that I want to play the big venues mostly.
Yeah.
But I do love the intimacy and how a small venue does feel like more of a special show. And I love when the crowd is like right up with you and it's hot in the room and there's nothing like that.
No, I agree. I agree.
But for the booking, so that was for the booking agents. The big,
they all listen to this podcast.
I know. I heard.
Booking agents. Let's not go there. Where are we? Favorite rhythm section? Not Danko Jones, his band.
Right. No. Oh, that's a good one. Well, I guess Zeppelin.
Yeah, most people say that. Name an underrated band. Could be anyone. Your friend's band, or just a band you love that you think should be more popular than they are.
Controversial. Van Halen.
Underrated? How does that work?
No, I know they're hugely huge, but I don't know. We were having this conversation that I don't know. They are huge, but they're not huge. I don't know. That's a terrible answer, isn't it? But it was kind of a bit of an inside joke, but a bit of a serious. Like they're kind of like they are like obviously super huge, but like I don't know if they get all the respect that they deserve. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know. Some circles, it's not the respect I feel like Van Halen.
Really? Okay,
but
interesting.
Even though but all right, I'll come up with
Well, that's your answer now. That's your answer.
That's crap. It's rapid fire, man. That's
Van Halen, underrated band. Favorite album of all time?
uh, well, for the first one was like I already answered so many like Zeppelin answers, so I didn't want to come on, share the wealth. No, I'll just say Zeppelin 4.
Okay, so is this gonna mean that your favorite drummer all time is John Bonham, or do you have another favorite drummer?
No, not necessarily. Elvin Jones, I think, is my favorite drummer.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, nice. Good answers. Thanks for that. And I'll edit that 1 hour long pause.
Thank you.
Give me more work to do now. No, I'm only joking. That's great. Right, so we're coming to the end now, and at the end of every episode, I ask this question, which is also tough, so I do apologize in advance. If you could create your own dream band with yourself on drums, not including members of Danko Jones, who would you have playing the other instruments? And they can be dead or alive. So you on the drums, and then you can just make up a band, a super band.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on the drums. Pino Palladino's on the bass.
Yes. He's a fellow Welshman. Did you know that? He's from Wales?
I did know that.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Do you know? Have you ever met him?
No, I never come across him, but I'm a big fan.
Okay. Who'd be on guitar? Maybe Jeff Beck.
Amazing.
Would be on guitar. Yeah. And that'd be it. It'd be a trio.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Instrumental.
2/3 of it would be.
It would be good. I'd be so cool, man. Oh man, that would be slamming.
Yeah.
But Jeff Beck, what a loss, eh? I saw him last year with Annika. Oh. He played in Cardiff, so I was really lucky. And it was Annika's first show with him actually, and she's still up in her right foot or knee, I forget what it was. She was injured, so she played the whole set with just her left foot on the left pedal. Insane. No way. Insane, yeah. So she'd injured it like a couple of days before. And she's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to cancel the tour. But what am I going to do? So she was like, no, I'll see if I can play with just my left foot. And she'd never even really used the double pedal, apparently. She was more of a single pedal player. So that was really impressive. So I got to witness that show. So I'm really happy about that.
That's an incredible story.
She killed it. And I don't think anyone would have noticed.
Wow.
I just thought that was a little quirk that she did, because I could see, because I was kind of, it was like a big theater. So we were sitting kind of on the stage left side, and I could see her using her left foot on the pedal. I'm like, oh, I didn't know she did that. I was like, and I've seen lots of videos of her playing, but that was the answer. That was why.
Wow.
Crazy. But she's an amazing drummer. So, she's been on the podcast as well. For anyone listening, very lucky to have her on. She was a good guest. But yeah, R.I.P. Jeff Beck.
Mm-hmm.
But no, great. I've really enjoyed this, mate. I hope you have as well.
Me too.
It's been really cool. If you're ever, well, hopefully we might cross paths in Europe maybe this summer if we're playing some of the same festivals. I don't know. We're still waiting for confirmation of lots of stuff.
I hope so.
It'd be good to hang out, or maybe we should even tour together.
I would like that.
That would be really cool. We'll get our guys, speak to your guys, and see if it's actually possible.
Yeah, I would love that.
Or if you ever need a drum tech, hit me up, because it'd be easy.
Could use a vacation.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Oh man, and I'll have you on mine as well if you'd be down. That'd be great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't use Los Cabos sticks, but I can pretend to if it helps.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You don't have to.
No, No, yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, great. Yeah, good luck with the new ventures of Performance Health and FitDrummers, and I look forward to getting the app when it's downloaded. And
Oh man,
maybe you can help me out with some stuff, or maybe inspire me a little bit. Because
either.
I think
I'm down for both.
I think a lot of people need a kick up the ass when it comes to the exercise kind of side of things. And people make excuses a lot, and I know I'm one of these people. You make excuses why you can't do it or start it.
I'd love to, be that accountability person. I agree. We all need it, but you don't need to do a lot. You don't need. You can start small, and that'll lead to big, great changes. So let's do it. Yeah,
cool. Well, thanks, Rich. Have a great day. Man. We'll catch up soon, no doubt. And say hello to the boys for me from the band whenever you see them next, and all that.
We'll do. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah. Same.
Cool. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Drum for the Song podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Drum for the Song podcast. If you've enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave me a review or comment, that would be fantastic too, as it helps other people discover this show. Please also consider sharing this with any family members or friends who might enjoy the content. You can also follow me on social media at Dane_drums or at Drum for the Song, or search for Drum for the Song on Facebook to follow the page and join the official Facebook group. If you'd like to support the podcast, you could purchase some merchandise from drumforthesong.com, or consider supporting me via Patreon from just £3 per month for additional exclusive content like bonus episodes, video calls with myself, competitions, discounts, and much more. Any additional support is always greatly appreciated, but I would like to give extra special thanks to my top tier Groove Master patrons, whose names are listed in the description below. My name is Dane Campbell, and thanks so much for watching or listening this far. If you're a drummer, don't forget to drum for the song.